Warner Hospital and Health Services, we offer fast treatment to help you breathe easier and feel better fast. Quality care right here, right now. Click on our icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The DeWitt County Animal Control has been caring for a few livestock animals recently, sparking discussions on the care of animals in need versus what county statutes allow. At last week's DeWitt County Public Safety Committee meeting, John Wirtz asked Animal Control Administrator Grace Moore about some chickens, ducks, and other livestock that they have been caring for recently, adding that caring for livestock is strictly prohibited in county ordinances.
I was also told we have a chickens or roosters or...
Unfortunately.
We have livestock now in our facility?
Yeah, so we have had a couple individuals that have found birds, ducks, chickens dumped out near the lake or out at Weldon Springs, and they have brought them to us. Most of the time, those get out within 24 to 48 hours that we've had them. These ones, in this case with the chickens that we have, they all have lice, and those cannot leave until that is treated, because I'm not going to send lice-covered birds into somebody else's barn for them.
We shouldn't have them in the first place. I mean, I don't think in our statutes, and I looked again yesterday, but I don't see in our statutes where we take any kind of livestock. I was even told we're feeding a horse right now.
We have been caring for horses, yes, but that has all come out of somebody has donated feed for them, and as of today, those are no longer a county problem.
Are the employees caring for this horse on their own time, or is that on the...
Yeah, so there's
county
been,
side?
yeah, so we've been going out once or twice a day just to feed them. Usually Nicole's been going out on her way into work because she comes through that way anyway. So she stops by, feeds them, comes into work, and then on her way home, she does the same thing. And it takes her probably 5-10 minutes to do so.
Like I said, again, I looked at the statutes again to make sure I'm right, but let's see where we need to be.
Yeah, with
tending to people's livestock.
Yeah.
When it came to the horses being fed, Moore says they had the Illinois Department of Agriculture involved. She notes that horses are protected under the Human Care for Animals Act. Committee Chair Megan Myers brought up that it can be difficult to turn away animals that are in need, no matter the species.
With that specific one, we did have the Department of Agriculture involved, so it wasn't just us taking on those.
Yeah, I know in the case of the horse, we did find out the local humane, the hooked animal person, and they have that contact information going forward. So I think it's difficult because you get calls from the public, and in some cases you just can't walk up and say, you know, you're wrong, figure it out, you're on your own, or leave the animal to suffer. So I think it's case by case trying to figure out how to handle that, who the contact person is. We have the contact person for horses now.
And horses are also covered under the Humane Care for Animals Act. So while it's not technically in the county ordinance under our jurisdiction, anything that falls under that within the Humane Care for Animals Act would technically fall under animal control jurisdiction. But we did have the Department of Agriculture involved with that as well.
Full board chair Joe Whitty told the Heart Media Group that the ordinance regarding these scenarios can be somewhat unclear. However, he affirms that the facilities are simply not suitable for handling chickens and other livestock.
It's something that we feel very, very.
For clarification, I'm not on public safety. I don't have a great understanding of, all the ins and outs of the statute, but my understanding is really one of the primary goals of animal control is obviously dealing with the handling of domestic animals, primarily for rabies and stray control. Again, that would primarily include dogs and cats, but can spill over into wildlife, when you're dealing with rabies, where there's some gray areas where you start getting into the livestock. And I think my understanding is, we want to be able to protect the public. When you look at things like chickens and ducks, I don't know if you've ever had them, but I've had actually both at our farm.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very messy and require specialized facilities. And so I think that's really what the primary reason for some of the questioning at the public safety may have been, is our facilities were really not designed to deal with all types of animals. Even though we try to, help all animals, we've got animal control officers that are very compassionate and do a great job. We got to keep in mind the facilities, what they were designed for. Chickens, ducks, very messy animals, and the air conditioning and heating systems in the area that we would have to store or house chickens and ducks, it's all connected to everything else. And so when you start taking those kinds of animals, you start impacting the property as well. So I think that was the primary concern, maybe some of the reason for that discussion yesterday.
Whitty adds that animal control has the authority to turn away animals. While he understands that many may have differing opinions on the matter, serving livestock could be a very slippery slope that the county is not equipped for. Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing I understand is, even though there's some gray areas in some of the statutes, we can turn away animals, especially if we don't have the facilities or we don't have the room. If we have to be able to deal with the strays, but surrenders, if we don't have capacity, we can turn those away. And so it's playing that balancing act, right? You want to serve the public, we want to protect the public from rabies and things like that. But if we don't have facilities designed for certain types of animals, we don't have to necessarily take those in. And that's what I think the discussion really revolved around yesterday. I've got my opinions, and others may have different opinions, but the animal control does report up through public safety. And I just said, I'm not on that committee, and I can certainly speak with those board members, but I am on property. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it from the property, through the property lens. I have concerns if we were taking chickens and ducks on a more regular basis, or if we start down that path. We're not really set up for that today.
Much of the livestock in question is no longer or will no longer be in the care of the county. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, City of Lincoln hosting technology and electronic recycling. A local school board is on the verge of approving funding for an ongoing elementary facilities project. Mount Pulaski Schools Superintendent Jason Spang explains that the school board recently heard presentations from bidders regarding the renovations of the district's elementary school. He says they decided to go with core construction for the project, which they have utilized for previous work.
Next month at our board meeting, we've partnered with Kendall King, King's Financial, to help us finance the grade school project we talked about a few months ago. And so last month at our board meeting, we were able to hear presentations on a design build concept, design bid build concept, and then what they call CMAR, which is a construction manager at risk. And so we listened to all three of those presentations, and I believe we're going to move forward next month with recommending hiring Core Construction as our construction manager at risk. They constructed our high school building, and did a fantastic job. And so I believe my read on the board is that we feel comfortable, continuing that partnership. And so that's going to be my recommendation for the April board meeting. But Kendall is going to come in and present a new financial timeline for us, as far as probably in June having a regular board meeting to adopt a sales resolution and issue debt certificates, and then obviously close on those, and then have a public meeting, and then have a 30-day petition period for the public to be able to collect signatures if they don't want us to move forward.
The project will feature the addition of new classrooms and a new gym. Spang believes that there will not be much opposition due to the responsible fiscal approach they are taking.
We don't anticipate that happening because, again, we're able to leverage the new revenue from the wind farm here within our district boundaries, and so we'll be able to construct this without raising the tax rate. And so we don't expect those signatures, but in case we do, then we want to start this project in June, so that way, if the public does collect all the signatures, we can still get it on the ballot for November. So several classrooms. So we're contemplating anywhere between 6 and 8 new classrooms, a new competition gymnasium right now, the elementary school. We have one gym with seating only on one side and also a stage in that gym, but it gets very, very crowded. In fact, for concert nights, for spring concert, Christmas concerts, we have to break one big concert down into smaller ones because we can't fit everybody in the gym. So we just need more capacity. And so we've seen 2 different architectural plans for those. One is to build the gym on the north side, kind of in the ground. We would dig out in the ground and have the gym located there. And then in another rendition, it was on the southeast side of our elementary school, currently where the playground is. But excited. It's going to be a mixture of new construction and some renovation.
The construction of a new data center is on the horizon in Logan County, although nothing has been set in stone. Spang states that whether they reap the financial benefits from that project or not, this is a project they feel the district can handle.
It's something that we feel very, very strongly about proceeding and doing, whether the data center comes or not, because if the data center does come and we need to do any additions later, complete any additions, we'll have the flexibility to do that. We're looking between 15 and 20 million. We don't have enough room on the elementary campus to build a totally brand new building and then have the kids, continue to learn the old building until the new building's ready. Right. Number one, we don't have the land. Number two, it's in town. It's convenient. A lot of our kids walk to school, and our busing transportation is set up for that model as well. So plus our elementary school has really good bones, and so that's why we've decided to renovate some of it and then add on to some of it because, new construction cost right now, it's between, $450 and $650, $700 a square foot. And so that can add up very, very quickly. And so we are going to incorporate some renovation, but some new construction as well.
From breaking ground to completion, Spang expects this project to take around 15 months. He notes that there should be very little displacement of students during the school year.
Our plan is to break ground in the summer of 27, and then by the end of the summer in 28, have it complete. So, we've talked about bringing in modular units to put up either on the south side of the building or in the playground area. So if we need to renovate during the school year, then we'll have places for those kids to go. But very, very little displacement. But obviously with the new construction, you don't have to worry about any of the current building being affected by that because we have that square footage to be able to expand on the elementary campus.
This project is among several renovations the district has been making, from athletic facilities to educational ones. Keep up with all the latest of Mount Pulaski schools by visiting mountpulaski.k12.il.us or by finding the district on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 23 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. One of the hardest kinds of items to dispose of in day-to-day life is also becoming more common. Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch explains that if you are a Logan County resident and have broken or obsolete technology piling up at home, This week is your opportunity to drop them off for free at the Lincoln Municipal Services Building.
Yeah, this is something that we're really proud that we can offer the residents of not just Lincoln, but Logan County as well. So most people have old electronics laying around, whether it's a printer or a TV or something of that nature. And we do this at no cost to the residents of Lincoln. Wes Woodhull, our building and safety officer, has done a remarkable job of identifying someone that can take this stuff off our hands for our community. So we're going to do it. It's going to happen all week. We've tried to make the hours available for most people. Wednesday, it'll be late hours. But yeah, if you've got old stuff, electronics that you're trying to get rid of, aren't working, bring them out. We do not take microwaves. We will not take that type of stuff. And anything that is like broken into pieces, we will not take that for safety reasons. But other than that, bring it out. And if we do take it, we'll April 20th through the 24th. 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. most days, Wednesday open till 7, and that's at the Municipal Services Building at 313 Limit Street.
There are a few regulations that must be followed, such as maximums on certain large items like televisions. The mayor adds that the event is exclusive to Logan County residents, and they will turn people away who do not respect that.
4 TVs is a maximum. It's not intended for loading up all of your friends' TVs and bringing in a large trailer and stuff like that. It's meant to be for the individual household. And so we ask that people be respectful of the fact that it's a free service and the people that are out for the city and the county. Bring your ID with you. It is a free service, and we live in a world where sometimes people try to do things they're not supposed to. We have had people from outside the county try to come in with large loads, and we've had to turn them away and stuff. Not that we don't want to take their stuff, but it is a service that's being paid for by the taxpayers of Lincoln, and we want to make sure they get that benefit. Yeah, believe it or not, you would think that it's really, really expensive. It's not. Don't quote me on this, but I think we've spent around $1,000 to provide this service. We found a really great company to work with. They're from up north. If anybody is interested for their community, they can certainly give our building and safety officer, Wes Woodhull, a call. His number's on the city webpage at lincolnil.gov. He'll be glad to connect you with that outfit.
Visit lincolnil.gov or find the city on Facebook for more on electronic recycling in Lincoln. An Illinois congressman wants the federal government to supply $50 million for Illinois infrastructure projects before significant economic development occurs. The program is a part of Eric Sorensen's Onshore Act, which creates a piggy bank for federal funds to use on an as-needed basis.
So basically, my Onshore Act, which I got passed in the last Congress, we built a piggy bank. Now we need the coins to go in there so that our communities can thrive. And quite simply, if a company wants to come to Bloomington or Normal and they want to add, 500 jobs, right? But then the property taxpayers, they shouldn't have to pay the tens of millions of dollars for sewer and electric and roadways. And so what this does is it's a local issue, but we need federal help to make it happen, right? Because right now big projects are getting delayed and canceled in central Illinois. And so this funding from the federal government will help that, will help ease that burden so that property taxpayers won't feel that pinch.
Sorensen says the critical supply chain site development program would help Illinois attract new businesses and spur job growth. If approved, the $50 million federal grant would be available for use in Illinois in 2027. Another great learning experience for those enrolled in the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation program. Ethan Axe is a senior manager in training and development for Growmark. He's participating in the class of 2027. A key takeaway for him was a trip to Washington, D.C., seeing policy discussion firsthand.
You are living it real time, and when you're seeing it on the news, you're then talking with lawmakers who are involved in making it happen. And it is sort of a real out-of-body experience to just be part of that environment and talk to the people who are influencing these decisions that impact all of our lives, and certainly the lives of Growbar customers who really deal with the implications of the price of inputs and the challenges that we're facing in the market right now, and those trade decisions. And then just to be a part of that conversation, I think that's what the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation does for participants, is it gives you that type of access and perspective.
The Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation was created in the 1980s. More info at agleadership.org. Now for your local obituaries. Kenny Leo Lynch, 64, of Clinton, formerly of Lane, Illinois, passed away at 1:31 a.m. April 17th at his residence in Clinton. A celebration of Kenny's life will be 6 p.m. Wednesday, April 22nd at Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton. Private family burial will be at Oak Park Cemetery in Clinton at a later date. Memorials may be directed to Cancer Care Center in Decatur, Illinois. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It is getting down to the wire for the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, due to expire very soon. In the meantime, the status of U.S.-Iran talks up in the air, although now the AP is reporting that 2 regional officials have told it that the U.S. and Iran are signaling that they will attend a new round of ceasefire talks in Islamabad. A Canadian tourist has died in a mass shooting at one of Mexico's historic pyramid sites. More than a dozen people, including some Americans, were injured. The gunman subsequently took his own life. A redistricting scheme, one that will allow Democrats to grab 4 more congressional districts, being decided in a referendum today by voters in Virginia. Now, on Wall Street, stock futures are higher. The Dow futures are up 283 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 116. More details, srnnews.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WHOW and all its digital platforms, the Decatur St. Teresa Bulldogs took advantage of defensive miscues from Clinton, beating the Maroons 7-4 in non-conference high school softball action on Monday night in Clinton. Savannah Chandler kicked off the game for St. T, hitting a line drive and reaching on an error from Clinton pitcher Olivia Haynes. A bunt from Avery Harrison was grabbed by catcher Hadley Humble, but a miscue from shortstop Avery Smith allowed Harrison to advance to second and Chandler to third. From there, Riley Boyer bunted into a fielder's choice, allowing Chandler and Harrison to each score on missed throws to make it 2-0. Clinton answered back with a leadoff single from Avery Smith, who scored on a Laney Brewer line drive and an error from the Bulldogs' third baseman. St. T managed a 1-2-3 ground out to retire Jalen Thomas, who was hit by a pitch, and the hitter, Campbell Bass. Hadley Humble reached on an error and ultimately scored on a wild pitch. In the top of the second, Chandler was walked in by Emery Krieger to take the lead back at 3-2. They added another 4 runs in the third inning, highlighted by singles from Chandler and Krieger to make it 7-2 by the end of the inning. Clinton got one back in a sacrifice ground out from Brewer that scored Thomas in the third, and added another run in the bottom of the fourth when Riley Fentress scored from third on a dropped third strike. Thomas led the Maroons with a 2-for-3 day at the plate, scoring once. Smith went 1-for-4 and scored, while Fentress also scored and went 1-for-2. The Maroons shined in circle with a total of 16 strikeouts between its two pitchers. Haynes got the start and retired 7 batters, allowing 6 runs on 7 hits and walking 3. Campbell Bass came in for 4 shutout innings of relief, striking out 9 batters and walking just 1. St. Teresa was strong on the offensive end, led by Krieger's 3-for-3 outing with 3 RBIs. Chandler was 2-for-4 and plated 2 runs and scored 1. Harrison went 1-for-3 with a pair of runs, and Sarah Malberger posted a 1-for-3 day with a run scored. Harrison went the distance in circle for the Bulldogs. She struck out 4 and walked 1, allowing 4 hits on 4 runs. With the loss, Clinton falls to 6-13, while St. Teresa improves to 7-14. The Lady Maroons are back at it on Friday when they travel to Shelbyville to take on the Lady Rams. Hear the next Clinton Maroons sports broadcast when the baseball team plays host to the Meridian Hawks on Monday. First pitch is at 4:30 p.m. Hear the Central Illinois Conference action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Monticello survived a late rally by Pontiac and held on for a 3-2 win in Illini Prairie Conference high school baseball action on Monday in Monticello. Cole Basak hit a 2-run home run in the third inning to put the Sages in front 2-0. Coy Williams followed with a triple, but with nobody out, the rest of the lineup could not bring him in. One of several opportunities to score Monticello missed on throughout the game. An awkward play in the fourth inning scored the ultimate game winner for the Sages with Grant Kiger at second base. Colton Schubert hit a ground ball down the third base line. Thinking it was a foul, Schubert slowed up going to first base, but an errant throw allowed him to make it safely. Kiger, running on the play, turned and went home. He too slowed up as he got to the plate, but he slid under the tag on the relay throw home and made it 3-0. The Indians consistently were able to manufacture base runners, but failed to cash in until late when they scored 2 in the 6th inning to make it 3-2. In the top of the 7th inning, Pontiac loaded the bases with 1 out, but Aiden Brummel was called out on a very questionable check swing ruling. Then a weak comeback to Forrest Rodden ended the threat and the game. Hayden Romano returned from a brief finger injury to work 4 shutout innings, including getting the final 9 batters he faced. Williams finished a homer shy of the cycle, going 3-for-4 with a double and a triple, continuing a very hot stretch for the senior who was coming off Tommy John surgery last spring. Monticello won its 19th in a row to start the season off and is 5-0 in the Illini Prairie Conference. They are back in action on Wednesday when they host Salt Fork. The Monticello Lady Sages rallied in the 10th inning to beat the Pontiac Indians 5-4 on Monday afternoon in Illini Prairie Conference high school softball action in Monticello. After 3 scoreless innings, Peyton Rogers doubled in the top of the 4th for the Indians, which scored India Mattingly. Izzy Hines then connected on a 2-out double to bring home Rogers and make it 2-0. Monticello scored 2 of their own, highlighted by an Allie Widener single that scored Isabella Beery to even the score in the bottom of the 6th. Both teams tacked on 2 more runs to tie the game at 4-4 and send it to extra innings in the 7th. After a scoreless 8th and 9th, Reese Steiger walked and stole second and was brought home by a line drive from Annie Robinson for the win. Beery led the Sages offensively, going 1-for-3 with a run scored and 2 RBIs. Meadow Miller was 2-for-3, and Sadie Walsh was 2-for-5 with a run scored. Cassidy Stoffel twirled 7 innings and struck out 3. She allowed 8 hits and 4 runs. Madison Highland pitched 2 shutout innings of relief to earn the save, striking out 3 and allowing 3 hits. With the win, Monticello improves to 15-5, while Pontiac falls to 8-7. The Lady Sages are at home on Tuesday when they host Westville. First pitch is at 4:30 p.m. Augustine Ramirez homered, and Max Meyer pitched effectively into the 6th inning to lead the Miami Marlins to a 5-3 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals on Monday night, snapping the Cardinals' 5-game winning streak. Meyer, who has battled injury since being selected 3rd overall in the 2020 amateur draft, left after 5 1/3 innings and 91 pitches. He permitted 2 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks with 8 strikeouts. Calvin Foucher got the final 2 outs in the 6th. He allowed the tying run to score on a wild pitch, but was credited with the win after Miami went back ahead in the bottom half. Pete Fairbanks gave up a leadoff triple to Mason Wynn and a sacrifice fly to Ramon Urias in the 9th before finishing for his 4th save in 5 opportunities. Meyer hit J.J. Weatherholt and Ivan Herrera with pitches to begin the game, but then retired 10 batters in a row. Jordan Walker got the game's first hit when he singled with 1 out in the St. Louis 4th to extend his hitting streak to 15 games. He scored on Wynn's sacrifice fly to put the Cardinals up 1-0. Michael McGreevy didn't allow a base runner until Kyle Stowers walked with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. Stowers scored on Xavier Edwards' ground rule double to tie it at 1-1. Ramirez hit his 2nd home run, leading off the 5th for a 2-1 lead. Foucher entered with 1 out, and Walker on first in the 6th. Wynn singled before Walker scored on a wild pitch to make it 2-all. Stowers singled in the 6th before scoring the go-ahead run from first on a double play by Otto Lopez. Edwards walked, but was thrown out at home on Liam Hicks' single that drove in Lopez to make it 4-2. Lopez, who has hit in 9 straight games, drew a walk from Ryan Fernandez in the 8th before scoring on Hicks' single for a 5-2 advantage. McGreevy gave up 4 runs on 5 hits and 2 walks in 5 2/3 innings. Weatherholt has been hit by a pitch in a Cardinals record 5 straight games. Cardinals right-handed pitcher Dustin May starts Tuesday opposite Marlins right-handed pitcher Chris Paddock. Colin Rea pitched into the 7th inning, and the Chicago Cubs beat the Philadelphia Phillies 5-1 on Monday night for their 6th consecutive win. Dansby Swanson hit a 3-run homer for Chicago, and Michael Conforto added a sacrifice fly. The Cubs have outscored their opponents 44-14 during the team's longest win streak since it also won 6 in a row from August 26 to September 1st, 2024. They are tied with Atlanta for the major's longest active winning streak. The Phillies have dropped 6 in a row and 7 of 8. They've been outscored 42-10 during their losing streak. Rea is 3-0 and permitted 1 run and 6 hits in 6 2/3 innings, aided by a stellar defensive performance from his Cubs teammates. Golden Glove left fielder Ian Happ went into the stands to catch Kyle Schwarber's fly ball at first. Golden Glove second baseman Nico Horner made diving stops on hard grounders by Bryce Harper in the 1st and Schwarber in the 7th. First baseman Michael Busch robbed Bryson Stott with a diving play in the 6th. Matt Shaw also helped out with a terrific catch on Trea Turner's liner to right field in the 9th. Phillies right-hander Aaron Nola was tagged for 5 runs and 6 hits in 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 5 and walked 4. The Cubs grabbed control in the 2nd. They loaded the bases with no outs, and Happ scampered home when Miguel Amaya bounced into a double play. Following a walk to Pete Crow Armstrong, Swanson drove in a 3-1 sinker to center for a 4-0 lead. The projected distance on Swanson's 5th homer of the season was 424 feet. The Phillies scored their only run on Justin Crawford's RBI double in the 4th. Crawford was stranded when Rafael Marchand bounced to first for the final out of the inning. Jesus Luzardo starts for the Phillies on Tuesday night, and fellow left-hander Shoto Imanaga pitches for the Cubs. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Boston Red Sox beat the Detroit Tigers 8-6. The Houston Astros beat the Cleveland Guardians 9-2. And the Cincinnati Reds took down the Tampa Bay Rays 6-1. The Atlanta Braves beat the Washington Nationals 9-4. And the Baltimore Orioles took down the Kansas City Royals 7-5 in 12 innings. The LA Dodgers routed the Colorado Rockies 12-3. And the Toronto Blue Jays beat the LA Angels 5-2, while the A's took down the Seattle Mariners 6-4. In NBA playoff scores from last night, the 4-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers beat the 5th-seeded Toronto Raptors 115-105, while the 6th-seeded Atlanta Hawks took down the 3-seed New York Knicks 107-106. And the 6th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves beat the 3-seeded Denver Nuggets 119-114. In NHL postseason scores from Monday night, the Philadelphia Flyers shut out the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-0, while the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Ottawa Senators 3-2 in double overtime. The Dallas Stars beat the Minnesota Wild 4-2, and the Edmonton Oilers beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-3.